Is the cue ball going to make it? Just.
Well, he's missed it. Wow.
While the 2020 United Kingdom Championship gave us the most dramatic final frame we'd seen in some time, that's not what this video's about. Here we're looking at the fantastic shots the players executed along the way. Helpfully, the BBC put together a list of what they consider to be the top 10 shots of the championship. You may not agree with all of these choices, but they definitely picked some great shots, so I thought I'd use my mediocre snooker skills to see which of these is the best. So I'm going to be finding out by attempting to recreate all of these shots. So in case you're new to this and don't understand exactly what we're doing, here's a 5-second explanation of how it all works. I'm going to attempt to play each shot in the fewest possible attempts as accurately as possible, and that should help me decide how difficult each shot is to play. Maybe unsurprisingly, Judd Trump appears on this list numerous times and shot ace from his third round match against Liang Wenbo. So we're starting with a safety shot, but this one's a lot harder to play than it looks. Judd screwed the cue ball into the bolt cushion with reverse side, making it spin in behind the yellow. On my first attempt, I slightly overscrewed it and found the gap between the yellow and the cushion. I successfully adapted to this on my second attempt, but it's harder than you think to get the cue ball on the right line with that amount of spin. Shot B is Judd Trump from the very same match, but this time with a difficult pot and positional shot. This one's going to be a lot harder to get right, I feel. As soon as I saw this one, I just thought to myself one thing: am I going to be able to strike the cue ball hard enough in order to be able to play it? With the cue ball being this far away and close to the cushion, just potting it is a difficult shot, and that's before you try to play it at full power. It was several shots before I even started potting the ball, and even that wasn't good enough because I wasn't potting it clean into the centre of the pocket. I kept going in off. But even when I started to pot the yellow into the correct part of the pocket, I still had problems. I wasn't able to generate enough topspin on the cue ball and I kept stunning it a little bit. And also my table was substantially slower than those on TV. Despite all of this, 10 shots in, I managed to play a yellow good enough that I left myself a chance at the green that I was able to take. I wasn't completely happy with this though and wanted to get closer to the green, but as it turned out I'd already played the shot about as well as I could.
No, I need a faster table.
Judd comfortably won this match, and it goes without saying we'll see him again later. Before we look at the next shot, we're going to find Vance from Detroit, Michigan. Unfortunately, being successful at snooker does require you to take on some brave attacking shots. However, for someone like Liang Wenbo, this is never a problem, as he demonstrates here, not only potting the red, but getting exact position on the black. This is a tough shot from distance, and although it has the perfect angle, you need to be really accurate with your positional shot. This was definitely a harder shot than it looks, and because of that I was happy to get it in just 3 attempts. It didn't help Lang, however, who, as we just saw, lost heavily 6-1 to Judd Trump. Shot D is John Higgins not only finding a gap to be able to pot the red, but also managing to control the cue ball round 2 cushions for position on the black. I think this is going to be less about potting the ball and more about controlling the cue ball. I should be able to pot it on my first attempt, but the question is, can I control the cue ball around 2 cushions? Essentially, can I play it slow enough? I cut the red a little bit more than I needed to, meaning I got closer to the black than I would have wanted, but I was still able to pot it, so I was happy enough. John won the match, but ended up losing out to Zhao Yulong. Shot E is Kyron Wilson finding a bizarre shot. He plays the cue ball off the side cushion to allow him to plant 2 reds into the middle pocket. And as soon as he played it, it never looked like missing.
I thought Kyron had done well to actually see this shot, and once he'd seen it, potting it was a formality.
But as it turns out, you have to strike the first red on the low side, and on my initial attempt, it went embarrassingly wrong. Which makes it even more impressive, because it's not like it's one of those plants where you only have to hit the first red to be able to get it. This requires a really accurate shot as well. Kyron had a good run in this tournament, but ended up losing out to Judd Trump in the quarterfinals. Shot F is Mark Selby. Despite having to play this shot with a lot of power, he manages to get the cue ball to split the 2 reds and ends up in perfect position here.
Not only was Mark able to play this very accurately, but he also played it at an incredibly crucial point in the match.
Playing the cue ball round the cushions with stun and side is incredibly difficult here, and I didn't expect to be able to get anywhere near the reds on my first attempt.
Oh, that's unreal. What are the odds of that?
Because of the difficulty of the shot, I'd be happy with any cannon that leaves me a potable red.
Like that pocket.
Unfortunately, even potting the blue into the wrong pocket didn't result in me getting on a red. The reason this shot is so difficult is because you've got to play it with both stun to get it between the brown and the green, and right hand side to make the angle off 2 cushions. If you get the wrong amount of side spin or back spin, then the cue ball is going to be nowhere near where you played it because it completely changes the angle. The fact that Mark got this in the middle of a break and then went on to clear the table and win the frame makes it even more impressive. And not only that, he manages to get the perfect cannon on these 2 reds, getting the cue ball right in between the 2 of them. I eventually managed to cannon a red after 11 attempts. Not perfect, but I managed to pot the red straight away and get in a position to clear up, which wasn't exactly easy. But as I ended up in perfect position a few shots later, I was happy enough, even if I did play a rubbish positional shot from the black. Even though Mark produced some good performances in this tournament, he ended up losing out in the quarterfinals to eventual winner Neil Robertson. Shot G and we're back to Judd Trump again, showing off his cue power to screw this long red in and get the cue ball back into bulk.
Finally a shot where you need to get a little bit of action on the cue ball.
When I initially went to set the balls up, I realised the cue ball had to go a lot closer to the bulk cushion than I thought, making it a difficult shot to screw back, and I was pleased to pot it, but I didn't get anywhere near bulk with the white. I knew I could definitely screw the cue ball back this far, but I was digging down quite a lot with a shortened bridge, and that didn't allow me to get the spin on it I needed. And to be fair, I was surprised I potted the first 2 shots. So I decided to throw my body at it a bit, and just as I did, I struck the cue ball perfectly. The white just about got to the bulk line, but from where I was really happy with the result. Shot H is another good positional shot off the blue from Mark Selby, especially when you consider he's 3-0 down in his quarter-final match against Neil Robertson.
Honestly, if this was me, I think I would have chosen to play this a little bit differently, but we're going to attempt to play it the same way Mark did.
Mark punched this onto the cushion with a tracer left-hand side to widen the angle, but with the red being so close and potentially in the way, I think I would have played this running through with a little bit more side. But either way, that's the way he played it. But once I got everything right, I was really happy with the result because it's really difficult to get the perfect split here.
This one's both a good swerve and accurate snooker escape.
Shot I is Judd Trump once again. You getting bored of him yet? Well, this time he can't even see the far side cushion, so he manages to swerve the cue ball round the green to hit the cushion, and then judge the perfect contact of two cushions to get the cue ball back into bulk. Obviously, this isn't going to be as easy as Judd made it look. Also, Judd had a couple of reds he could have hit here, but I'm looking to hit the same one as Judd to make the shot look as accurate as possible. What was really difficult here was swerving around the green with exactly the right amount of spin. I nearly got it right on my fourth attempt, but just came back out of bulk and potentially left pots on, so that wasn't quite good enough. Getting the correct amount of side spin was by far the most challenging part of the shot, but eventually I managed to hit the red about right and get the cue ball safe enough. Nothing went from this position, so I was happy enough with it.
We still have some complex shots to go after we find Ashish from Pune, India. When it comes to these attempts, there are some shots you really don't want to get wrong, simply because there are too many balls to get back in the right place.
And shot J from Kyron Wilson is one of them, because he powers the cue ball through the reds, top spinning its way through, and moves everything everywhere. This wasn't going to be easy, and it could take a lot of putting back.
Ha! Well, at least I didn't move the red.
Somehow I managed to make the cue ball run up the red enough with topspin to make it climb over the top of the pack. But this was going to be difficult to not do again. So on the next attempt I made sure I hit the cue ball as flat as possible, trying to stop it jumping more than anything. Didn't finish perfectly, but I suppose I at least had a shot on the black. The top three shots chosen was third Kyron Wilson's cushion first plant, second Judd Trump's snooker escape, and first Mark Selby's pot and excellent positional shot off the blue. These are three good choices that I can't disagree with a lot. However, for me the hardest shot to play was Judd Trump's yellow. I couldn't even hit this hard enough. The frame was already over at this stage, meaning it didn't really matter, but I think I'd definitely have put this in somewhere, even though it wasn't that significant.
But that's just what I think. Why not head to the poll in the description where you yourself can vote for your favourite?
Or if you want to see more videos like this where I recreate the best shots from the World Championships or the Champion of Champions for example, then have a look at these two videos. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.